So, hello, Mr. Graham. Is that how I pronounce your name?
Yes,
Okay.
actually, that's the proper way to pronounce it.
So, first off, I just want to start with what is AVM and what does it mean to be a stroke survivor? So, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, you asked me two questions. AVM stands for arteriovenous malformation. Arteriovenous malformation is when you have your veins and your arteries then combined together have capillaries. Usually people have theirs that with a straight lines. Ours is knotted up. It's a rare condition that you prior conceived with, and you don't know that you have it until it protrudes out of your face, out of your arm, or explodes in your brain. So only 1% of the world's population are actually born with this actual rare disease. And I had mine in my brain, so it came out to be a hemorrhagic stroke. So when this actually ruptured, that's when I actually had my stroke. So two things, three or four things actually happened. I had the AVM rupture that I didn't know anything about, that turned into a stroke. Then I had what's called hydrocephalus. It's where you can't change brain fluid into spinal fluid. So I have a shunt that drains into my stomach to actually alleviate the pressure on my head. And then I had dysphagia. I couldn't swallow. And so on the operating table, I aspirated and I caught pneumonia. So those are the things that happened to me.
Mhm. I see. And it's really interesting that many people haven't even heard about this. And
Mhm.
thank you for being here with us today
No
um,
problem.
and telling us your story.
No problem. Thank you
So,
for
just anything else that you want to add about your journey? I know you said that you were traveling for work and then you left work. So, what about your
So what happened was is that it's very weird because every November this stuff happens to me, and it happened to me in November 2017. I had my rupture. The year before that, I got laid off from being an instructional designer with Fortune 500 companies, and then I decided to get a RV truck to transport RVs across the nation. I just felt like this was a good time for me to do that. I was tired of the corporate world, and I had enough money to do this stuff. So I'll say, hey, why not? So I was driving back from this place called Indiana. That's the north side of the United States to back to my house in Atlanta, Georgia. That's the southern part of the United States. And when I was driving back home, I was talking to my mother on the phone, and she was telling me about a young lady that had a stroke at her church that went to high school with me. And during that conversation, that's when I had my rupture. And during that time, I knew that something was wrong with me, that I knew I was having some type of aneurysm, or I didn't know it was AVM at the time. I knew I had some kind of brain bleed because I had a friend of mine that survived a brain bleed before, and he told me it was the worst pain of his life. He felt like it was a excruciating headache. And I knew that's what I was having. So I was telling my mother, I have pain. I don't know what to do. And she talking to me on the phone. She told me to pull over and call 911. So that's what they came. It took me to the hospital. Said I couldn't be operated there because they didn't have any neurological team there or neurosurgeons there. So they had to airlift me to another hospital in Louisville, Kentucky. And then I had my operation there.
Hmm. And once after your operation, how did that impact you and your family? Did you see it, like you said, you didn't really see it coming and you didn't know about this before, about AVM?
Well, I would tell people that are in a relationship, and if their relationship is strained, like how my relationship was strained, um, figure it out before something like this happens, because you don't want to have animosity between your spouse and then you have a disability on top of it, such as a stroke, because it's very hard to deal with it. Because one day you are this person that's making all the money for the household, you're the breadwinner, you have your children, you could go all-inclusive resorts, vacations all over the world. And the next day, you making a slither of what you used to make before. And then you need other people to help you to even get out of bed. So if that person that you're married to and you having arguments with, now you guys are looking at each other in a completely, totally different role. And now your mind as a stroke survivor is thinking, well, I don't know if she really likes me or really loves me. She's just doing this because of compassion. And then she's doing these things and she is mad at you or he's mad at you and don't really want to do these things. So this is not something that you really prepare yourself for. Nobody ever goes into a marriage and says, okay, when they have elderly issues or they can't move anymore, I'm gonna take care of them, because they don't understand that part. They just think that, the better part. They don't think about the better or the worst part. So when that worst part came, we was not prepared. So in other words, and that dissolved our marriage.
And you also started recently this activism and reaching out and spreading awareness. So, what is your initiative, and which change are you looking to make?
My initiative. Well, let me tell you why I did it. I did it for selfish reasons, actually, and the reason why I'm saying that is because when this happened to me, I felt inadequate. I felt like I couldn't function inside of society anymore. And I have two daughters, and I didn't want my daughters to look at me as somebody that could not do anything. So I wanted to show my daughters that, hey, a man can still do things that he's supposed to do for you as a man if he's going to be in your relationship as a spouse and future husband, whatever. He can't have any excuses. So you could look at me and say, okay, my dad did all this stuff. He was able to do it. So can you. So you can't be lazy as well. But uh, I always wanted to help out people. And this is the best way for me to help out people. So I give out caregiver baskets once a month to caregivers all across the United States. I get donations from people. I got corporate sponsors now that are actually helping me out to give out these caregiver baskets. And what it does for the caregivers, because I noticed with my ex-wife, she was in shambles. She didn't know what to do. Once I got home from the hospital, nobody was there to help her. Nobody told her what to expect from me. She thought, once I was able to walk or feed myself, everything was fine. That's not true. I still have mental issues that I deal with. So I imagine all these caregivers dealing with this stuff, and they just want their husband or their wives back, and that person's never coming back. So I made up this initiative to help out caregivers by giving out spa treatments, oils, aromatherapy, to have bath time, because a lot of times these caregivers don't want to leave their home. So just to give them a little respite at their house, they can actually, soothe themselves and get away on a mini staycation. And then also I do interviews with different caregivers, medical professionals, stroke survivors, head trauma survivors, just to allow them to actually have a voice, because a lot of them can't speak or can't speak properly. So they have their caregivers come on with them to speak about whatever they want to talk about their story. And it's therapeutic, because now they realize that they're not alone. They know that there's other people out there that's going through the same thing that they are going through, and they have a outlet. A lot of times with us people that have some type of brain trauma, it's hard to explain it to other people, because they look at us and say, well, you look normal. We're like, okay, yeah, but we're not. And when you talk to another brain trauma survivor, you don't have to explain that look normal thing, because they understand it already. So these things is something that I know. I have my voice still. I never lost my voice. So I know I have that talent to speak to people. So it's like I said, it's twofold. It's one, for me to feel like a man, is therapeutic for me, as well as helping out people in the community to make sure that they are taken care of as well, to feel loved.
I feel like it's really an amazing initiative that you've taken on, because
Thank you.
oftentimes caretakers get so busy taking care of their family members that they forget to take care of themselves.
Yes, absolutely.
And especially voicing yourself and letting other brain trauma survivors know that there's others like them. That's the same initiative that Mind to Mind is looking for.
I like you guys. I like that you guys are taking this initiative. That's pretty cool.
So, what do you think really helped you the most in your position and helping you grow out of your brain trauma and grow as a person?
Meditation. Meditation is key for me because uh, there was times that I was just so dark and so depressed, and just I had to learn that it wasn't my physical disabilities that was holding me back. It was my mental disabilities. And once I got over my mental trauma, it was easier for me to live as who I am today. Now, I still have my problems physically, but they don't really bother me as much as they did before. Because before I used to say, "Oh, I can't do this. Oh, you worthless, Greg." Da 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 da. Now, I don't downplay myself. I don't talk down to myself, even though I still have those same disabilities. So, being in a place of being in the present mind, that has helped me, and also looking at other disabilities as people that have disabilities and they try to function within the society, talking with those people that's even worse position than I am, um, gave me strength and solitude, or solace, I should say.
Absolutely. Any other ways did talking to other people in the community help you?
Yeah, that's what really gave me over the ledge. Like I said, I do these interviews, and I have met so many new people that I would have never have met before all over the world. I have interviewed people from the United States to all the way to Australia, and all of them are my friends now. And just because I open my mouth and try to talk to other people has helped me get my sanity of feeling loved and feeling grateful, feeling adequate to other people's of lives, and that has helped me out tremendously. So that's why I always tell other stroke survivors, get out your shell and talk to other people that have the same situation as you, because this is going to help you get back into society, and you realize that you're not the only one that's going through this. Excuse me.
So what is the biggest thing that you think from a society point of view, or that anyone, especially children like us, can do to help brain trauma survivors, especially like you said, since we can't see an invisible disability, what can we do to support?
Um, so I wanted to say children like you, because younger people really understand it better than older people. And I think that younger people have less trauma than older people. And what I mean by that is that a lot of things happen to people and they brush it underneath the rug, and they think they're strong, they think they're tough. So they act a certain type of way. Younger people usually don't act that way because they don't have that much trauma. But when you're dealing with a person that has some type of brain issue that you can't see, or invisible disability, just be patient and listen to them. Don't anticipate anything. Be in the moment, and don't try to act like they are less than you or less intelligent than you just because they can't speak properly. There's nothing wrong with their intelligence. There's something wrong with their motor skills, and that's what you have to really put into to focus. If you look at what you're seeing, then you're lost. You have to really deal with what you're feeling and what they're actually trying to get to you. Be patient.
That's true. Definitely I will keep in mind, especially even in children, like at school, there will be some that we can't understand fully because not that they're not as smart as us, we just need to understand them more.
Well, they're extremely, matter of fact, they're probably more intelligent than you are because they don't have all the stigmas of the world. They don't have anybody to try to impress, because we as normal people, I would say, try to impress other people by our stature, by the way we dress, by how intelligent we are, how many degrees we have. But when you have somebody that has some type of mental disability, they don't care about none of that stuff. So their intelligence, they focus on other things that is less necessary, I guess, in this world and environment. So if we think that way, then we can really understand what we need to do with these people, or us people.
Is there anything else that you want to mention to all of our viewers? Any message that you want to get across today?
Um, Live in the moment. Do not, do not anticipate anything. Live in the moment. Don't try to force anything. Be yourself. For our stroke survivor community, please, please remember you are special. There's a reason why you're still here. Take advantage of it. Do everything possible that you want to do. Don't wait for tomorrow. Don't beat yourself up. You're not perfect. Nobody was perfect before you had this stroke. You wasn't perfect. So don't think that because you can't walk today doesn't mean that you won't be able to walk tomorrow. And don't beat yourself up. That's it.
Thank you so much for your time today, Mr. Graham. I
Thank you.
really enjoyed talking to you. It was eye-opening.
Okay, no problem. Anytime, sister. Anytime. I really appreciate you guys.
Thank you. We will definitely keep in touch in the future.
All right. Have a good night.
You too.
Bye.